Hi guys, how are you? Happy holidays. So, haven't done a video in a while, so thought I better put some content up. Um, so I'm gonna do another addition, not a version, addition to behind the album. I'm gonna post this as you're seeing it on Facebook. I tend to get more views, more interaction with. I'll put it up on my YouTube channel as well. But I've been noticing getting more interaction from the posting the video actually on Facebook. So, anyways, today we're taking you back to 2012, and we were going to talk about this album, Hollywood Forever. Said that like a Valley Girl, forever. This came out 2012 on Cleopatra Records. And, I have bittersweet feelings about this album because it's sort of was the beginning of the departure of me from L.A.Guns. After that tour, I left the band. So I'm going to talk about all of that and talk about how the recording was very fractured in the making of this album. Once again, produced by the late, great Andy Johns, my buddy. Miss him dearly. Passed away at 61, sadly, back in 2013. Wow. And he's been gone for 11 years already. He did another phenomenal job producing this record, as he did with Tales from the Strip and Rips the Covers Off. So we'll talk about the process of this and the songs and a few other things. So here we go. Here's the back of the album. I'm trying not to get that glare. I can get this without getting a glare. This was an actual photo that was turned into a drawing. We did the photo shoot for this record at my dearly departed Paula's friend Tina. She was renting a house up in Hollywood Hills off Highland Boulevard near the Hollywood Bowl. And we thought it would be really cool to go up there and do a photo shoot. So that is an actual photo turned into artwork. So anyways, so let's dive in. Now, this was put out, obviously came out on CD. So this was put out on vinyl, which was really cool, and I was really happy that Cleopatra did that. Now, if you have the vinyl version, you'll notice that there's only 10 songs, where on this there's, I believe, 13. And there's also a bonus track that I wrote. It's on the Japanese release, the CD release, called Rattlesnake. But if you have the vinyl, of course, you're limited to the amount of music you can put on a vinyl record. So that's why there's only 10 songs on this. So we put this down and we'll talk about the CD. So opening this up, we have this picture here and more pictures, statue, and this cool, very cool. Cleopatra did a really nice presentation on this. This came out pretty good. Lyrics and everything. This is funny, man. Scotty Griffin, he's still to this day such a character. So they asked us, put your thanks of all your family and your wives and your industry people. So you can see the link. This is Scotty presents us with this, and we had such a laugh about it and got such a kick out of that we're like, oh no, it has to go exactly like this. So you can see like short Stephen Phil's and mine is, and this is Scotty's. So yeah, we had a kick about that. We used to roust him about that. He was like, dude, this is my first, my first album with the band. So, man, I went all out from my childhood. I thanked everybody under the moon. So, anyways, that's this. So, getting back to let's talk about the album. This will probably be a long video because there's a lot involved with this record. I remember us being on tour in the Midwest, and we had already, signed, I think, the deal with Cleopatra. I don't think we really had written anything, maybe a couple of songs. So We were just saying, hey, you know, what do you think we should call this and record? And I remember Phil just, you know, spurting out Hollywood Forever, and we were like, that's it. That's the name of the record. Wasn't even a question about it. So in my mind, I'm like, my wheels start churning, and I'm like, I'm going to write the title track to that. And I did. I wrote a really cool song. Scotty had the same idea, but I beat him to the punch. So he wrote a song called Hollywood Forever too. That ended up being the last song on the record, called Requiem Hollywood Forever, which was just an incredible song, opus. Mine was a lot different. So the idea I had when I sat down and wrote the music was I wanted something driving, kind of like old school Deep Purple. So that was the thought process. And once I did that, I came up with a little drum beat on a drum machine. It just kind of wrote itself. Here's what's cool about this record. I actually wrote lyrics to 2.5 songs on this, and I wrote pretty much all the lyrics, which is something I normally don't do. And I just had this creative juice going, and the lyrics for Hollywood Forever turned out pretty cool. And I remember I just came up with, we play our games like moths to flames, till death we shine together, we feed our fame with lives so vain, and scream Hollywood Forever. And I'm like, hey, that's not bad. So I emailed Phil and I go, hey man, what do you think of this? And he, you know, responded back. He's like, mate, that's bloody good. So he goes, run with it. You know, he goes, that is really good. So I just kind of pen and paper and just started, you know, it took about a week or so, and I came up with some really, really good lyrics. So the other song, I'll get to it. I'll go in the running order. So that's Hollywood Forever, which was very cool. Driving song, and that was trying to think. I used all Marshall amps on that record. I used an old 70s Marshall, a JCM 900 that I borrowed from John Levin, and a JCM 2000. I believe that was already at the studio. So we got some really great guitar tones. I don't remember. I was endorsing this boutique company called DRC Guitars out of Palm Desert. They were like super strats, kind of like a Charvel kind of San Dimas. I think I used one of those on that track, and I remember I split that up with my Epiphone Japanese Cream Custom, Les Paul Custom on that. I do remember that. So moving on to You Better Not Love Me. That was a song Scotty and Phil kind of came up with, and I just added some cool guitar parts to it. That ended up being the lead-off single for the album, which was pretty cool. And God, the print's so small, I might have to put my glasses on to kind of read some of this. Then there's Eel Pie. That was another song Scotty wrote, Drop D. It's kind of heavy. And I remember Phil came in and he's like, oh, I'm going to call the song Eel Pie. And we were like, what the hell's Eel Pie? Not really sure to this day. Sweet Mystery. That's a song, a really good song Phil brought in. Pretty much finished head to toe musically and lyrics. Burn, that is one of my favorite songs on. It's got this cool kind of New Orleans voodoo vampire vibe. And Adam, myself, and Phil co-wrote that song. That's a really cool song. Some really cool guitar stuff in that. Vine Street Shimmy. That's a song I brought in with Phil, and I wrote the lyrics to that. Phil really killed that on vocally. He came up with some really badass melodies on that. Kind of an old school GNR, kind of Aerosmithy tune. Dirty Black Night. That was, I think, one of the first songs written for the record, and that was a song idea Phil had. And he actually played guitar. He plays rhythm guitar on that song. And I also use a theremin. You might ask, what the hell is a theremin? It's a box with an antenna, and you plug it in to an amp, and it creates like radio wave sound. So you control it, the different pitches and notes of it, by waving your hand in front of the antenna. So Jimmy Page used to use one. A whole lot of love. There's a theremin. So we had some fun with that on that song. That Dirty Black Night's got some really, really cool guitar work I did on that. And I'm pretty sure I used another DRC guitar, that silver one I had, a lot of you know, which has been long retired. Definitely remember doing that. And I remember that and Burn, Kelly Nichols. Kelly Nichols was involved with the original bass player, and Kelly's a fuck cool guy, man. He still looks the same as he did in '88. That guy is a vampire. He doesn't age. He actually played on a track, also sang backgrounds on some songs, but I remember he was in the studio when I did those two songs, and it was just really cool having him there and be part of that too. So I was really trying to get him back in the band and then have Scotty play second guitar, and it didn't happen, but he's a real cool guy. Underneath the Sun, that was sort of a ballad on the album, and that was another song that was brought in from an outside writer, a guy named Gary Wolf, really cool musician. If you remember the show Party of Five, Scott Wolf was one of the main actors on Party of Five, and Gary is his, I believe, younger brother. And Gary's great writer and great musician. And him, Adam, I think, wrote part of this too. And Adam Hamilton and Gary had a band, I believe, in the late '90s. So I kind of tweaked it a little bit, and I sort of got credit as a co-writer on that. I sort of changed the verses guitar-wise on that song. It's okay. It's not a bad song. Then what else do we have under that? We have Queenie, which is kind of just like, I remember Phil wrote that. That was kind of just a straight like Rod Stewart type rocker. God, I just can't see this without my glasses. The print is so small on this. Crazy Tango. That was another song Phil wrote. Cool tune. Venus Bomb. That is sort of a Stevie Ray Vaughan-esque kind of rockabilly, full throttle rocker. And that's the song I wrote, and I wrote all the lyrics to. And not a lot of people know this. Paula helped me write some of the lyrics on that. She was never credited, but I remember she spurted out a couple of lines when we were in our apartment in Hollywood Foothills, and I said, babe, that's actually pretty good. So she actually helped me write a few of the lyrics for that song. And again, that was something new, writing lyrics. I'd not done that really on a record. So it was really cool, the opportunity to have that. I Won't Play, that's an old song that Steve had from this band he played in the late 70s, I think. It's okay. I just have fond memories of Phil, Kelly, Scotty, Steve, and I all singing background vocals, and we were having fun, and we were like, cracking jokes and laughing, and that was a cool memory of that song. And then Scotty's Hollywood, his version of Hollywood Forever, which we ended up calling Requiem, which was just an incredible piece of music, man, how he crafted this thing. And he came up with all these kind of classical type chords. And I had to sit down with him and I'm like, dude, you got to show me how to play this thing, because I just, I had a hard time with it. And we used an acoustic 12 string on that. And yeah, fantastic song. So we had done this at 2 different studios. We did the bed tracks at Stag Street Studios, which is in North Hollywood. And then, so we got all the bass and drums done there, but we played all together, which was cool. And then we moved over to Unison Studios. Now, when we were creating this record, it was very different vibe than when we did Tales from the Strip, which we all sort of got together. Everybody sort of just wrote songs, dipped off and wrote songs and then brought them in. So there was this kind of, there was this fracture a little bit. And, you know, at that point, I wasn't really getting along with anybody in the band. So I would go in at night and work with Andy, and it was fantastic because it was just the engineer, him and I. And we'd have some wine and the lights were dim and it was just such a cool atmosphere. And then, you know, Phil would come in during the day and Steve would pop in. They would listen to what I was doing, and then they didn't like any of the stuff I was doing. And I sort of went into this record with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, and I was like, I'm going to melt people's faces off. You know, I was tired of not getting the respect I deserve, and I go, wait till people hear me play on this. So I ended up having to change all my solos because they were like, dude, it's too much. It's like you're playing like Joe Satriani. So I would go in the next night, and then, you know, Andy would say, oh, mate, you know, dissensions in the rank, young Stacy. And this went on for weeks, and it just created this major tension and rift. And then when we did all meet in the studio, we would just argue, and it was not enjoyable at all. So the creative process was so different, and then we decided, you know, normally we would split everything down the middle. Everybody would get, you know, an equal share. So this album, we decided to do the opposite. So whoever brought whatever song, so people's songs started getting cut, and it was not a good decision, because it really put a black cloud in the band as far as business wise, and it really kind of fractured the band. And then, you know, when people's songs started getting cut, their percentages started going down. And I don't know why we did that. I wish we hadn't have done that, because it wasn't conducive for morale. There was another song Scotty brought in. I remember the song called Lady Luck, I believe it was called. Freaking really cool song. And that got chopped. And another song I brought in called Rattlesnake, which was very 70s driving Aerosmith. Really cool song. That ended up getting cut, but it was the bonus track on the Japan release. So if you ever want to look that up, that additional song is on there. So, you know, I look back on that record with fond memories, but it's very bittersweet, because for the first 6 months, I just couldn't listen to this record. It brought up too many not very good memories. It was a difficult record to make, you know, especially as a guitar player, having to go in and change all these things. And I just remember on Scotty's song Requiem, Hollywood Forever, I put this just brilliant, like, harmonic minor Randy Rhoads type lead, like Diary of a Madman. And you know, I went in the next day and I'm like, oh, you know, band doesn't like it. I'm just like, what the fuck? So I had to go in. I remember going into the studio hungover And I had to redo about 5 or 6 solos on the spot after I worked my ass off. And that really pissed me off. And that was kind of a nail in the coffin. I'm a team player, but, when your work is getting, dissected and, you're being told you're too good, it's that kind of a weird thing. But so this album, when it came out, actually sold very, very well. It had been, how many years? It'd been at least 7 years or more since we put out Tales from the Strip. So there was that eagerness for people to see what we had done. So, and this album actually broke the top 25 on Billboard Rock. We outsold Rush's record that year. So that was really cool to see that in Billboard magazine. L.A.Guns, Hollywood Forever, number 24. So I need to get a Billboard plaque for that. I've been meaning to do that for years. So I'm going to get that and put that up on the wall. But yeah, it did sell pretty well. So yeah, but again, getting back to, I listened to this album, it's very good. I don't think it's as good as Tales from the Strip, but when I listen to it, it's like that's the sound of me getting ready to leave the band. It's a strong album. The fans seem to like it. It's just, it holds good memories. It holds a lot of bad memories. I think everybody did a great job on this. I mean, Phil's vocals are always just, he's such a great vocalist. His performances are always top notch. Against Steve's drumming and Scotty's bass playing, it's just, the process was very fragmented, and I can hear it when I listen to it. But there's some great moments on this record, some really good songs. The tour to follow was not good for me. We just hadn't stopped in 2 years, and by the end of that year, I hit the wall. I was burned out. I wasn't getting along with the band, and I remember it just came to a head one night in Sweden, and it just was like, it was like a fucking just screaming F you match, and that was it. I was gone. I decided to leave the next day. Looking back, I don't know if all roads lead here, so especially with Steve passing away last year. But I look back and I don't know, beginning of 2013, if I'd have, I didn't want to leave the band, but I felt I needed to. So, but that's a whole nother story. But I'm glad that I'm able to hold this and talk about it. I do think it's a great album. There's some great moments on it. Like I said, there's some great guitar work from me. I wish my original guitar work had stayed on it, but either way, it's still pretty damn good. So that is the edition of Behind the Album, L.A.Guns, Hollywood Forever. I don't think I left anything out. I remember when we started, Andy came in the studio, and he had a big black eye. And I go, what the hell happened to you? And he was outside a club, and there was a guy hassling some chick, and he went up, and the guy socked him in the face. There was never a dull moment with Andy. Got some fond memories. Andy and I we had this weird English humor monologue thing that comes from my growing up in Canada watching BBC. So my English humor was just cracked Andy up. And we would just go into these skits, and people would look at us like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And we would be doubled over laughing. And so those are very fond memories. Him and I became very close during the recording process of that. So anyways, Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Always love your comments. Like and subscribe. Like I said, if you want to just share this also, it will be on YouTube as well. And we'll come back probably after Christmas with Behind the Guitar. We haven't done one of those in over a month. So a few more of those to do. So thank you so much, guys, and happy holidays. We'll see you soon.